Okay, go ahead and pull out your wallet, take a look at that credit card. The company that issued it has some pretty clever ways to overcharge you. We're talking around $300 every single year, on average. And the craziest part, it's all perfectly legal, thanks to clauses buried deep inside that agreement you probably clicked I agree on without a second thought. So for the next few minutes, think of me as your personal financial guide. We're going to hunt down those loopholes together and put that money right back where it belongs, in your pocket.
So let me just ask you, straight up, is your credit card overcharging you? I'm going to go out on a limb and say the answer is almost definitely yes. And look, this isn't because you're doing anything wrong. It's because the entire system is built to be confusing on purpose. It happens quietly. A fee here, an interest charge there, month after month. And this is what we're talking about. $300, that's the average amount we're losing each year. For some of us, it's way more. I mean, think about what that actually is. That's not just a number on a screen. That's a plane ticket for a weekend trip. That's a brand new pair of noise-canceling headphones. It's a significant amount of money, and it is absolutely yours. To really get how this all works, you have to accept one simple fact. The game is rigged. It really is. These banks have poured millions, probably billions, into behavioral psychology. They know exactly how we think, how we spend, and what our triggers are. They're not just providing a service. They've created a whole environment designed to get them the most profit, usually at our expense.
And check this out. This is where it gets really interesting. It's all about the language they use. They'll call it a credit limit, which sounds responsible, right? Like a helpful boundary. But what it really is your debt capacity. They've calculated the absolute maximum amount of debt they think they can squeeze out of you. Or they'll offer you rewards points, which feel like a prize, but really, it's a tool to create a spending addiction, to get you to spend more and more just to chase that little reward. So here's their biggest weapon, and it's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. A whopping 80% of us have never actually read our full cardholder agreement. And honestly, who can blame us? It's like 40 pages of tiny, dense legal text designed to make your eyes glaze over. But that's the whole point. That's exactly where they hide the rules that cost you money. So today, we're going to flip the script. All right, let's get right to it. Secret number 1, how to legally, and I mean legally, erase late fees. I know what you're thinking. You miss a payment by one day and bam, that $35 fee is locked in. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not. You have way more power here than you've been led to believe. And that power, it comes from the federal government, believe it or not. There's an agency called the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB for short, and they have a guideline that is your secret weapon. It says you have the right to dispute a late fee if it's your first time and the bank didn't give you clear written notice beforehand. So you're not asking for a favor here. You're exercising a right you already have.
So how do you actually do this? The key is, don't just pick up the phone. A call can be forgotten or denied. You need a paper trail. You have to submit a formal written dispute. The absolute easiest way to do this is through your bank's secure message center on their website. This creates an official, time-stamped record of your complaints. And here you go. This is literally the script. You can just copy and paste this. It's short, it's professional, and it's incredibly powerful. You're stating the facts. It's your first time, you got no notice, and you are requesting they reverse the fee based on official CFPB guidelines. This simple sentence shows them that you know the rules of the game. But does it actually work? Oh, yeah. About 60% of the time, when people submit a formal written dispute like this, the bank just quietly reverses the fee. And why wouldn't they? It would cost them way more time and money to fight an official complaint that has regulatory backing than it does to just give you your $35 back. The odds are in your favor. Okay, moving on to secret number 2. This one is huge, and I'm always surprised by how few people know about it. I'm talking about that annual fee that just shows up on your statement once a year. $95 for a travel card, maybe even $500 for one of those premium ones. Well, you can often make that fee vanish with just one simple phone call. The logic behind this is just simple business. For the bank, keeping you as a happy, spending customer over the long run is worth so much more than that one-time annual fee. They desperately want to keep your business. But here's the catch. They're not just going to offer to waive it. You have to be the one to start the conversation. So, here's the playbook. It's a simple 4-step process. First, you call that number on the back of your card. When you get a person on the line, you're going to say one specific key phrase. That phrase is like a secret password that gets you transferred to what's called the retention department. Their entire job is to stop people from canceling. And then step 4, you just listen. This right here, this is the magic phrase. You just say it calmly and politely. Hi, I'm calling today because I'd like to cancel my card. They'll ask you why. You don't need some elaborate story. Just say, the annual fee is a little high and I'm just looking at my budget. And then, be quiet. Let them make the next move. This is the trigger that gets you to the people who can actually help. So, what can you expect? Well, about 1 out of every 3 times someone does this, they get the fee waived completely, or they get a partial credit, or even a bunch of bonus points that are worth more than the fee itself. And just remember this, the absolute worst thing that can happen is they say no. That's it. It costs you 5 minutes to potentially save $100 or more. Okay, now, if those first 2 secrets got your attention, you're going to want to stick around for this third one. This is the big one. This is the loophole that banks really, really don't want you to know about. And it all has to do with their number one source of profit, the interest they charge you. The whole thing revolves around something called compound interest. Basically, it means you're not just paying interest on what you spent, you're paying interest on top of the interest. It's like a debt snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and faster all the time. It's how a simple purchase, like a new TV, can turn into a massive debt if you're only making those minimum payments. It's an incredibly powerful force. But here's your shield. There's a powerful federal law called the Truth in Lending Act, or TILA, and it requires banks to disclose all of their finance charges, especially how they calculate that tricky compound interest. And I quote, clearly and conspicuously. That means it can't be buried in tiny print or written in confusing legal gibberish. It has to be easy for a regular person to understand. So how do you spot a problem? You don't have to be a math whiz. Here's the test. Just find this section in your agreement about how interest is calculated and read it. If you read it and you're still confused, that's the red flag. If it isn't perfectly clear, you have the right to file a free complaint with the CFPB. Now, for most issues, that's enough. But if you have a really large balance or this all feels overwhelming, it's always a good idea to chat with a nonprofit credit counselor. They can give you some expert backup. And don't for a second think these complaints just go into some void. When you file one, the bank is legally required to respond. Since it was created, the CFPB has gotten more than $17.5 billion with a B back for consumers. That's real money that went back to regular people just like you and me, all because they knew their rights. Whew. Okay, so we've just covered a ton of ground. But don't think of these as little tricks or hacks. Think of them as plays in your own personal financial playbook. These are legal rights and negotiation strategies that have always been available to you. You just weren't given the rule book. Well, now you have it. So let's run through it one last time, nice and simple. 1, dispute that first late fee and always do it in writing. 2, negotiate your annual fee by telling them you want to cancel the card. And 3, if you can't understand how they calculate your interest, challenge it by filing a free and easy complaint with the CFPB. They say knowledge is power, but that's only half true. Action is where the real power is. You now know the rules to a game you've been forced to play for years. So the only question left is, what's your first move going to be?